Hey, it's Devstro here. I get a lot of people asking me about my painting and my modeling and stuff that I do, so I thought I'd take you on a quick tour of the process that I use when I'm putting together my miniatures and when I'm priming them and when I'm painting them. Now, I'm not telling you, this is not a how-to. I'm not telling you this is the way you need to do this, because I'm probably doing some things wrong. I don't know. It's evolved over years. Been doing this about 20 years, and this is the process that I've been using for the past several. It works for me, so I thought I'd share it with you. Come with me, let's go take a look. Okay, here's where I start out in my garage. This is my gaming area, but I also use it for assembly. I usually prefer working with the metal models. I also do plastics too. I think you have to do both in this day and age. Anyway, with the metals, they always kind of feel greasy to me when I get them. It's my understanding that's a release agent. So I usually put them in a Tupperware thing like this, put a little bit of dish soap in there, rinse them with water, let them sit for a little while, then run them under some clean, cool water, and then let them dry out before I do anything with them. I've had a lot better luck that way. The plastics I don't do anything with, maybe I should be. But at this stage of the process, until I get them assembled, I keep them in these Tupperware things. Here's some Chaos Warhounds. I got 2 Carnosaurs here, don't ask. Next step is putting them together, and I've got a bunch of different tools that I use for that. I'll go through here, and I keep them in this little $2 bin. I got it at Walmart. For metal, you need files. This is a set of precision files I got at Sears a long time ago. I don't know if they sell them now. Gale Force 9 makes a really good set. I use a little hobby knife here. I also have an X-Acto knife too, with some spare blades. This stuff is called Sculpey. What I use it for is to fill in well, there's none here. The slots on the bases, sometimes for the cab bases, these are already open and you got a lot of open areas to fill up. I use Sculpey. You could use green stuff, it's a bit more expensive. Sculpey will eventually dry, it just takes a bit longer, but I haven't ever had any problems with it. As far as glue goes, whether it's metal or plastic, doesn't really affect which glue I use. I usually get a super glue gel. I just go with whatever's cheapest or around, and I have a lot better luck with the gel. It'll do plastic to plastic, metal to plastic, metal to metal. I finally broke down. I got one of these bone saws. I've used it a few times. You can do some really cool conversions with this. If you're using plastic miniatures, you can get in there and cut things very, very precisely. These are some clippers. You want to make sure you get some flush cut ones. What I mean by that is that this part here is flat, so you can get right up in the sprue and cut it, as opposed to this one here where there's a little bit of a bevel in here. It'll leave a little nub if you use this to cut, so you want to make sure you get the flush cut ones. GW sells them. These are like 15 bucks, and the metal coatings coming off and stuff. I've been much more satisfied with the $3 ones I got at the craft section by the beads in Walmart. They use these for beads to clip the wires. I have a selection of magnets that I use from time to time. I get them from this place here. They're really cheap. I was buying more expensive ones at Radio Shack till somebody turned me on to this place. They got all sorts of different sizes. And then I've got a couple of different pin vices here, drill bits. I use paper clip to insert into the hole after I've drilled stuff. Some tweezers come in handy, and then I've used the hemostat on occasion. There's some other stuff. I saw Viv rubbish out, talking about some flexible magnetic sheeting. Here in the States, I found this at Walmart in the hardware section, magnetic vent blockers. You get 2 big sheets for $3. So then once I get everything put together, it's time to prime it. For priming, I'm using the Armory stuff. It's like $5.50 a can. I like it better than the GW. It is an actual primer. A primer leaves a porous surface for the paint to get a better adherence to. The GW stuff nowadays that they're using is actually just a paint. It's not a primer. I've used it. It works fine. In fact, if you're going to be painting black, their black stuff is an actual real black. You wouldn't necessarily have to paint over it, but it costs about 3 times as much as the Armory stuff, and you get actually less. For priming, I do big taboo, I know. I prime indoors. I got a big huge space here though, and I can always crack the garage door if I start to catch a buzz, but this way it keeps like dust and crap from blowing into my stuff that I'm priming. For priming, I lay the models down. I don't have them standing up. This enables me to kind of get better underneath the different things, and I have them elevated up off the ground. As you can see here, maybe it's just because I'm getting old, I don't want to bend over, but keeps ground like bugs from crawling into them and stuff. And then I try and spray from a few different directions. Try and do like the 4 corners on each piece. You don't want to put too many out on your board, because then the overspray can get onto the other ones. I've had bad luck when I actually read the directions on this stuff, so I just try and shake it for maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I'll put a song in on the CD player and listen to it, and when it's done, and I'm shaking it the whole time, you know, grooving to the tunes, then I'll come out and do my priming. When you're done, I always like to hold it upside down and spray until it sprays clear. That way I know the nozzle's not going to get clogged. And then I use a different surface for black. You want to check your humidity before you prime. I've had bad luck if I'm trying to prime in over 80% humidity, and out here in the desert sometimes it gets as low as 6%. And I found if I actually follow the directions and hold the can like 12 to 15 inches back, the paint will actually dry before it hits. So I tend to get fairly close, like maybe 6 inches or so. You want to be careful with overspraying when you get that close. It works for me, might not work for you. It's all going to depend on the humidity in your area. And while we're talking about it, I'm getting ahead of myself. As far as clear coat goes, this is what you put on when you're all done with the miniature. I use this Krylon stuff. I used to buy the miniature stuff, but this works excellently, and it's, I think, $3 a can. Get it at? Yep, Walmart, you guessed it. So then I get my models primed. I keep spare little game lids and boxes around so that I can have little project trays. If something hasn't been assembled yet, I keep it in a little Tupperware thing. And then once it's assembled and primed, I get it here in a box so that when I can take it over, it's easy to just carry over to my painting area indoors. White versus black. How do I tell what I'm going to prime each color? It's usually like my Lizardmen I go white with, Chaos I go black, Beastmen I go black, Demons I go white with actually. Depends on what I want the overall look of the model to be. When I first started out I was priming everything white, but I've learned to embrace the black more as I've gone on. I think it's a bit more forgiving. It's quicker to paint the model over. Nowadays, it used to be that some of the paints didn't cover as well over black, but nowadays I have sometimes hard time getting coverage over white, believe it or not, especially with the new Dark Angel screen. So let's see if I can take it into my painting area here. And this is where I do my painting. I've got it set up at a window here so I get a really good blend of light. I've got the room light itself, and then when it's daytime I can get light from outdoors, and then I've got 2 different kinds of bulbs here just to give me a wide variety of light from all angles. I've got my paints here. I keep metallics and washes on top, and then everything else in here, easy access. I got my brushes, my water cup, paper towel. There's one of the boxes I'm using as a project tray. And then up here I got access to other hobby things. I got glue, my flock, snow, some rocks and stuff, more brushes, all at easy grasp. And then of course the computer's right there so that I can have a movie on or some music playing while I'm doing my thing. When I do get around to painting stuff, here's the process I generally go through. I will first take and paint up just a base coat on all the areas, get everything covered. So this is this guy here, he's just the base coat guy. Then the next step is I'll take and then I'll put a wash over the whole model. And I might mix up the different colors of washes, but so here's the base guy, and then this is with the Badab Black wash over him. That's the only difference between those 2 models there. And then what I'll do is I will do some highlighting. I don't ever get crazy in depth and start mixing colors and adding a little bit of white and a little bit more white. What I do is I just take the base color and go back over some of the highest areas of the model. On this guy, the only thing I've really highlighted is the little tunic thing on the front. His skin, his hair, and his horns are the only differences there. And then once I get them all done, I go through and base them. I try and do about an assembly line. I try and do about 10 models at once, unless it's a character. Then I'll maybe just work on him. I've done up to 20 models before, but at that point, I think it takes a little bit longer for me to see progress, and so I like confining it to about 10 models or so. So there you go. That's just sort of how my process works when I'm doing the hobby and getting stuff from being in a blister or a box to being a finished, fully painted model on the tabletop fighting. So hope you have enjoyed it.